And now, a voice actor reacts to Minions: Rise of Gru.
I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, hey, how much do you really have to say about Minions? A lot. This has a stacked cast. We got Steve Carell, Russell Brand, Taraji P. Henson. We have Alan Arkin, who did a wonderful job. The cast came to play in this movie. I will say that. The style of voice acting in these movies is totally different from Pixar. And I need to draw a distinction between that because the animation is also very different. We just visually, all of these characters are caricatures. They got big noses and exaggerated hair and they're cartoons. It's really nice to see cartoons that are cartoons. In Pixar, we all happen to have the same face and the same emotions, and we're all just sensible people. And, I love when people aren't sensible in cartoons. It's great. Now, other things that we don't see a whole lot, there's been a real trend in, the conversational, not cartoony sound. But also, almost any time you see a kid in a cartoon, it's a kid voiced by a kid. And so the performance is a kid's performance. They opted to have Steve Carell play young Gru.
I am pretty despicable.
I'm pretty sure listening to it that they pitch shifted his voice a little bit. Because I don't think he was doing this the whole time. Maybe he was. And Steve Carell, if you were doing that thank you. Thank you for bringing silly voices back to animation. Because Gru was really the first exaggerated voice we had for a long time. He came out with this, what I want to say is Ukrainian Russian, it's hard to place it exactly, accent, way over the top, this big old nose. It was totally different from anything Pixar had given us, Little bone to pick here, his mom is played by Julie Andrews. Wonderful actress, Julie Andrews. But casting people. The accent should match. That's all I'm gonna say. She did fine, but there's a guilty part of me that says, I wanted Julie Andrews to do a big over-the-top accent. She didn't do it. All right. So, having said that, the movie is called Minions. Minions: Rise of Gru. And it's about the Minions. Pierre Coffin, I want to say. It looks like there's a big old screen. It says Pierre, and as in America, we would just say Coffin. Pierre Coffin. It's probably Coffin. I don't know. I don't speak French. But the guy is really a brilliant voice actor because when we're voice acting, we have the script right in front of us. They tell us what emotions and what the scene is about. They tell us what to do. And we say, well, how would this character do all of that? Pierre is using an amalgamation of a bunch of different languages, a lot of gibberish, and yet is somehow able to convey everything perfectly through these nonsense sentences. There are just some sounds that these minions make. They all have different attitudes. There's at least four if you count Otto, right? 4. And then they all have these clones, but there's different personalities that he communicates with all of these different minions.
For smoochy smoochy?
Using gibberish and French and Spanish and, kid speak or whatever you want to call it. Minionish. We're inventing languages. That's what we do. We're voice actors. That takes some serious skill. Any voice actor who is told you don't get to use real words, you have to make this convincing, you have to compel us, we need to feel something for this character, but you're not allowed to talk. Sometimes they give us a little bit of Spanish, which got laughs in the audience. A lot of laughs every time we got some full-on Spanish. But this is a feat of voice acting. He deserves his own movie. He deserves a sequel. He deserves that big title card at the front with the big minion eyes. It was, honestly, bravo. You invented something fantastic. It's caught on, and it was fun.
Minions:
I've taken issue with celebrity casting for voice acting in these blockbuster animation films because of the trend to prioritize a grounded performance. These aren't cartoons. These are characters in another universe that looks very different than our own. I wanted to watch cartoons. This was a cartoon. I like it. It's a breath of fresh air. The attitudes of these characters, the irreverence of the things that they do, the jokes that they make. I mean, it's silly. It's good old-fashioned silly, and that's why a lot of us get into voice acting in the first place. We are silly people, and we want to make funny voices. If the celebrities are doing it, there's a good chance that that kind of stuff could come back for, people like me on that rung of acting. So it's, I gotta say, it's refreshing. Is it a groundbreaking film? No. Is it fun for kids? Yeah. Is it fun for adults? Especially because you have these guys, these little minions, they're singing covers of, the one that got me was they sung a cover of Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel, but in minion speak, and it was weird, and funny and strange, and that's something that's there for any adult watching it. There's plenty of that. There's a lot of 1970s references through the whole thing.
Minions.
The performances don't rely that much on the animation for these emotions. That's what we see a lot with Pixar, is that the animation does a lot of the acting. Here, doesn't matter how big a celebrity you were, you did some real voice acting here. You came to play, you played, and you did a good job. They got celebrities with distinctive voices. Alan Arkin, Russell Brand, Steve Carell, Julie Andrews. These are people who, they're recognizable sounds, but they're also not these straight-laced, dramatic actors who just deliver everything as a consequence of thought. They're people with character! Did we really need Jean-Claude Van Damme to play a character named Jean-Claude? No, we didn't need that. I think he grumbled once. Okay, there's some talent in this movie, I gotta say. And to anybody who's like, celebrities shouldn't voice act, they should if they do this kind of stuff. Next up from Illumination, the thing that I'm excited to see, they're doing the Mario Brothers movie. Chris Pratt recently tweeted or said something about how nobody's expecting the voice that's coming out of Mario. Die-hard Mario fans are going to be like, why didn't we just get Charles Martinet to do this? He's been Mario forever. He'd be the right guy to do a movie. They're attaching Chris Pratt to it. Is Chris Pratt going to do the Italian Mario voice? I would love it. I would love it. If Chris Pratt does that, he'll be my hero. He might come up with something different. As long as it's not one of these grounded, serious, like, I gotta take Mario seriously now, don't do that to me. Illumination seems to have a good sense of humor and a good sensibility for these kinds of things, so I think they're the right studio to trust with it. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this has been Voice Actor Reacts.
Good night. Good night.
Yes, good night.